What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Garbearfitness. Today we are in a gym right off Cocoa Beach, Florida. I just got back from the beach as well, so I'm a little exhausted, but I really wanted to get a workout in for the beach today, and it was going to be a bicep video. I had mentioned I was going to film that, I believe, last week, but I never got a chance to. So first thing we're going to go over is the kind of a breakdown of the bicep muscle, and then we're going to work on 3 different exercises today. So whenever I'm training a client or explaining how a bicep is structured to somebody, the first thing I always explain is the bicep almost has 3 heads. It's technically 2, but I always consider the muscle that runs in the forearm to be part of the bicep as well. So the muscle right here in your forearm is going to be the brachioradialis. This is going to be the biceps brachii, and the side muscle, the head here, is going to be the brachialis. So you always want to make sure that your brachioradialis is strong enough when you are doing bicep exercises, because you never want to be swinging your body all the time. You always want to make sure that you are able to control the weight, because if your forearms aren't strong enough, you can actually put too much stress on your bicep or the forearm itself, and you can tear it. So the first exercise we're going to be doing today is going to be the Zotman curls. So it's going to be targeting all 3 muscles there in that structure. So whenever you're doing these, you're never going to take weights that are too heavy in the first place to do them, just because of the way you are rotating your arms, because you're going to be curling upwards, and then you're going to be rotating your arms face down and then curling down. So I took a pair of 20-pound dumbbells, and you're simply going to make sure that your form's right, your knees are slightly bent. You're going to be curling up this way. At the peak, you're going to rotate your forearms down, and then you're going to drop the weight down slowly. You always want to make sure when you're dropping the weight, you have total control over the movement of it, because you can very much strain your arms. Biceps and triceps, whenever you're training your arms, are always isolation movements, so you never want to go too heavy on those. And also going too heavy on them is not a great way to start developing the muscle. I'm a huge believer in shooting around for that 8 to 10 rep range, 10 to 12 rep range for training arms. Ideally for me, that's where I feel like they usually grow at. So let's get started. Alright guys, so for our second exercise today, we're going to be doing the curved barbell curls. When I do these, I like to focus on the peak of my bicep head here, so I always make sure my forearms and wrists are relaxed. Now when you have your forearms and your wrists locked up, such as this, or you have them curled up this way, you're training your brachioradialis right here, and you're dividing the stress between both muscle groups right here. And when you are curling, you always want to focus on training the peak here and doing such a curl as the curved barbell curl. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you guys how I do these. When you do them, you will notice that you will feel a lot more tension up here, and that is the purpose of this exercise. So I'm going to show you guys from the front right here. I always make sure my wrists are relaxed. Show you guys from the side as well. Now right now I feel everything at the base of my bicep peak right now. Now when you are doing these, even with a dumbbell or a cable, and I'll show you guys that on the cable, you can actually rotate your forearms up at the top, and you'll feel the contraction at another part of the head of the muscle. I'll show you guys that in the next exercise. Now right now, my bicep head's exhausted a lot quicker, and that's the purpose of training like that, to focus on just the bicep peak here. So let's get started with that final exercise today, guys. I'm going to show you exactly how to change the point of contraction as to where you'll feel the burn at when you're training your biceps. Alright, so for the final exercise we're doing today, as I mentioned, I usually do 3 exercises for my muscle groups, especially biceps. We're going to be doing cable curls, but we're going to be doing them coming from the side here. Now, as I mentioned when I was doing the curved barbell curls, how I keep my forearm straight like this. When I'm on the cables contracting concentrically, I rotate my forearms up this way, or my wrists. Wrists and forearms, you guys can call it either one. So you're going to rotate your wrists up this way, and you'll notice that halfway through the workout, you'll feel the muscle contract and the stress of the exercise down here. And when your wrists rotate up at the peak, you're going to start feeling everything up at the top towards your shoulders. So we're going to get started with that. Keynote for this is you never want to go very heavy on this exercise. It's very much of an isolation movement. Going too heavy on these, especially because the way that your arms are stretching out in and outward, you can tear your biceps at the top, the peak right here. And a torn bicep sucks because we do so many things in everyday life when it comes to lifting things, and our biceps are used in everyday life as well. Make sure, guys, when you do, before you start your exercise, you always want to play around with what height adjustment you want for these, depending on how tall you are, depending on where you want to contract the weight. I usually try and do it around from the level my head is on, maybe about a little notch above or a little notch below. Usually 15 is where I'm at when it comes to cable machines like this. Alright guys, that was a great burn for me. I usually end up doing about 3 sets for everything. Keynotes, guys, I always like to mention keynotes is always focus on the contraction of the arm. Find a weight where you can make sure that your body's steady and stable and you're not swinging around. And just key form with that again, guys. Form is always important on these. Torn biceps, torn triceps, whatever you're doing. They suck, they really do suck. I've had my biceps torn tons of times before from doing stupid stuff on my entry years of working out. Garbearfitness checking out, guys. As you can see, my hat today is Christmas. Merry Christmas, guys. Probably gonna go home and rest a bit and eat a bit. This has been actually a very hard week for me. Just a lot of different things going on. As you can see, I'm actually a little flatter than usual right now because I haven't been eating as much. For online coaching, diet plans, garbearfitness@gmail.com. The Instagram's @WatsonAlexander. Snapchat's Mr. Watson G. Twitter's roar_of_Watson. Check it out, guys. Make sure you guys eating right, getting big. Let's get these biceps going. All right, guys. So for our